Tell me why Joe Rogan pulled 2 interviews he'd done with you off air.
She's got like a fake mustache and a suit on, and she says, "Hi, I'm a man." We're in Amsterdam, and we go to all these sex shops, and we go, "What's your worst magazine?" We had things like the Gross Jar, where every month we put something else in this jar. I'm not trying to vindicate myself and tell you that I'm not who you think I am. I don't care what you think.
I want to say a quick thank you to our sponsors, Gold Seal. I use their products every single day, and now I finally get to work with them. I use their products for anti-inflammatory, reduced anxiety, better sleep, and mental clarity. I'm going to put a link to their website in the description, along with a 10% discount code for you to take advantage of. Go and have a look at their website, see if there's anything in there for you. I hope you enjoy this week's episode, and good health.
Gavin.
All right.
How the devil are you?
Not bad.
Now, I've got to say, I am very honoured that you have decided to come on my podcast because I've been a fan for a long time. I've been in your company several times. We've had a few good giggles of our own, and you're a big deal.
Yeah.
You've been a guest on Joe Rogan twice, and in the podcast world, he is podcast royalty. How does the studio compare to Joe Rogan's?
It's all right, yeah. The reason I agreed to be on this is because you're the real deal. And a lot of my mates have been on this, and I think you're fair. You know, when I was in Bristol, smell of wormwood scrubs, I was reminded of my dad, who used to muck about with the Crays. I don't know if you know the Crays, the brothers.
I've heard of them, yeah.
I mean, we can go into it because I trust you, but fucking hell, mate, I've had a rough life.
Well, before we touch base on your rough life,
Yeah.
tell me why Joe Rogan pulled 2 interviews he'd done with you off air.
And by the way, I was lying. I'm not a British criminal. I've never.
You got me, man.
Yeah. I would call him a pussy, but he got like $90 million for that deal with Spotify. So they said, get rid of all these. And he said, sure. And I would probably do, I'd like to think I would stand my ground, but $90 million bucks. I mean, no. It was weird though. After he did it, he kept talking about the importance of free speech and asking like Twitter why they banned me. And I'm like, Joe, why did you ban me? Why did you pull them down?
Well, I've seen Joe Rogan defend you since putting the interviews down. What was it you said that Spotify didn't like?
I think the most viral one was I said Muslims have a problem with inbreeding. And I've since learned that's a very taboo thing to say. I've noticed when you want to prove that, find an article written with a funny name, like Rajiv Nuchenbaban, and then people are less offended. So, and you go, they're saying it, not me. It's within their community. But it's just a fact. You know, Muhammad said you can marry your first cousin, and that doesn't bode well for many generations. And Americans don't really know Muslims. They're only 1% of the population. So that was considered like the most taboo thing ever. And I think that's why they took it down. I don't know. The funny thing about Joe was I did Adderall just a little bit for those podcasts. So he was like, this is the smartest guy I've ever met. I want to be his best friend. So we became pals after that. He got me front row seats at MMA. And then he did a show at, I forget the name of the theater in New York. And the green room was like half the size of this, very intimate. And I wasn't on Adderall. I was just my normal retarded self. So I came in, I was like, hey, Joe, what's going on? I farted. I thought I pooed, but I didn't. And he's like, who is this fucking idiot? When I wasn't high on Adderall, I was just a mere mortal. And we drifted apart after that. Also, I couldn't talk to him on Twitter. I couldn't DM him anymore because I'm banned. So that ended the friendship.
So how come Twitter banned you as well then? I mean, so just to be clear, you're cancelled from every platform.
More things than you could list. Like Pinterest, Shopify. I'm debanked. I can't have a credit card processor in my name. And then, of course, Twitter, YouTube, all those other things. And it all happened on one day. It happened like that, which to me proves that it's not legitimate.
Orchestrated.
Yeah. So it was October, I think the 2nd of 2018. And I was doing a comedy show where we were celebrating the death of the Japan Socialist Party. He was murdered with a samurai sword by this guy, Otoya Yamaguchi. Stabbed him to death, and then he killed himself in jail. But so we reenacted that. This was right before the midterms. Antifa were destroying the country. The left needed bad guys on the right. I had the Proud Boys, who were like EDL before it was known as a Nazi thing, like the first 2 months of the EDL. And even less, political than that. It was just like podcast fans. It was a joke. And they needed violence from the right, so they hired people to come down. There was hundreds of people protesting this comedy show, whereas the previous one I had done the previous year, there were 0 protests. So they all showed up, and they were looking for a fight. They vandalized the place, terrorized everyone. They beat the shit out of a journalist, stole all his stuff, no charges. They were arrested, but no charges. And then they were waiting to fight the Proud Boys. They left. The Proud Boys knew this was happening and brought pillows. So the shot the media would get would be just them with a pillow like, yeah, and they wouldn't get their shot. They left the pillows at the place. The police dispersed everyone. Antifa went around the block. So when they were walking to the subway, they jumped them. They said, "You want to go?" Proud Boys said yes. They won the fight after losing it at the beginning. And the police said, "You want to press charges?" Antifa said, "Fuck you, pig." So no charges were pressed. That was the end of it. The media did get their shots, though. And then the next day, it was fucking chaos. The mayor, the governor, the prosecutor, all these people with the same verbiage, hate has no home in New York City. And then the 2 guys that were the main part of the fight, they got 4 years in prison. And after that day, I was persona non grata. Before that day, I had mainstream guests on my show and, comedians, and was doing comedy tours with 0 problems. But someone made a decision, and that was the end of Gav.
Yeah, because you interview people like Kanye West. And
yes.
I want to come back to all of this in chronological order.
Okay.
So that it's nice for the viewers and the listeners to put it all together from the start, because you're a comedian, you were co-founder of Vice magazine, founder of the Proud Boys. So I want to talk about Vice, your comedy career. I want to talk about the Proud Boys. I want you to explain Antifa for people that don't know, and the difference between Antifa UK to Antifa USA, because I think they're violently different, but with the same kind of bizarre mindset. So just so the viewers and listeners are clear, what is the Proud Boys?
So it started in such a silly way. Like, we used to go on vacation together, me and this group of comedians, and we called ourselves the Get Along Gang. It was that silly. So I said, we're called the Proud Boys. We're wearing these particular clothes, Fred Perry's. These are our beliefs, and these are the rules of the different club. And I was making up stupid rules too, like as a joke. Like I said, no abos. That's our number 1 rule. Assuming we'd never be in Australia. And then I'm going to do a speaking tour with Tommy Robinson, actually, and Alex Jones in Australia. And the promoter goes, "Mate, did you say no abos in your club?" And I was like, dude, it never occurred to me that an Australian Aboriginal would ever come across the Proud Boys. It was just the dumbest thing I could think of. I might as well have said no albinos. So no, that's not a rule. Abos can come. But that was the sort of mentality. And then it was just a New York thing. We'd meet every month. There was a pub across the street, and we'd meet upstairs, and they closed it off for us. They loved us because we would drink so much beer. And then all these people are calling me saying they want to start a chapter. And I'm literally looking up Hell's Angels rules to say, like, it's got to be more than 5 people, and no, you have to be born a man. That's the only solid rule. Absolutely no women. And then you have to love America, but no other real parameters. Probably be of drinking age, because it's going to be in bars all the time. And then it just fucking exploded. And within a year, there was 12 chapters, including Tokyo.
So it's essentially a massive boys club where you all get together, share ideas, have a laugh.
Yeah, it wasn't even pro-Trump at the beginning, per se. It's just the liberals in the club couldn't handle the memes, and they pussied out. So now it's all pro-conservative, right-wing patriot stuff. But it's not right-wing in the way that the media portrays it as. It's just like libertarian, socially conservative guys. It's just a guys club.
What's the main attribute you need to join the Proud Boys?
You have to be a Western chauvinist. You have to recognize the West is the best, and you have to be born male.
You currently live in New York.
Yes.
and you're also a political commentator
Sure.
with a very high IQ. So from
I was going to
someone,
mention that, yeah.
I've done it for you.
Okay.
I've got your back.
People always forget that part. It drives me nuts.
Nothing worse.
It's on my business card now, so people remember.
So we've now got new government in. Keir Starmer, Labour government.
Tier Kier.
That's him. And recently he's now been named Free Gear Kier because of his generous donations he received. And he likes to tell the country that we're in this together. Really? I wonder if he's going to freeze this winter. I wonder if he'll go to jail for tweets. So I don't think we are in this together. But from an outsider looking in, from somebody that lives in the States looking into the UK, how do you perceive us?
Britain is becoming unrecognizable. Luton's lost. Birmingham. We saw them take over Leeds, where they just took over the entire city recently. And it's happening in the States too, the exact same thing with even worse people with these La Train, what's it called? La Train d'Agua. This gang, Train something. And the Venezuelan gangs murdering everyone. So I don't know if it's worse to be murdered than rape. Probably rape is worse. But it's just people who don't give a shit about us and don't mind replacing things. Because when you see these globalists encourage riots, you go, I don't understand why Soros wants to destroy Philadelphia in a giant riot. And it's because he doesn't give a fuck. I'll destroy everything and then rebuild it back in my image. So Tier Kier, it's not that he likes multiculturalism or anything. He's in his gated community. He's safe. But he doesn't mind watching Britain burn. And he's making it illegal to be British.
And in the States, is it the same as it is over here? If you object to mass illegal migration, unfettered migrants coming through unquestioned, unchallenged, if you object to that, do you get branded Nazi,
Oh, absolutely.
fascist, the rest of it?
Yeah. The worst thing you can do is kowtow to them and try to not be called a Nazi because it's their go-to word. Trump is a Nazi. Tucker's a Nazi. Tucker Carlson. They all see all of us are Nazis no matter what we do. So don't fall for it. But yeah, if you object to immigration, it's because you're racist. And Trump is a genius at avoiding this. Like he did that debate with Kamala Harris recently, and everyone thought Kamala won. And then we realized a few weeks later, we're all talking about them eating cats and dogs. And they are. Not just in Springfield. A lot of these immigrants will sacrifice animals. The Haitians have a ceremony around Christmas time where they eat cats. And the plan was to make Trump look racist when he opposes immigration, right? But the beauty of what he did is by bringing up the cats and the dogs, he was saying, it's not that they're black, it's that they're culturally different than us. That's my problem. So he took the conversation away from race and he took the immigration debate away from race and into culture, which was a brilliant move, and it's what we should all do. So yeah, the truth of it is we've never had a problem with immigrants. Britain's a great example too. Like we had the Yardies in the 70s. They declared independence from Britain and then said, can I come over a few years later? The Indians, when I was an immigrant in the 70s, they were assimilated, played cricket, drank Guinness. But this new wave of immigrants up here have no intention of assimilating. And there's not only do they not assimilate, they resent this country. There's some real animosity there. And we're seeing that in America with our latest sort of Venezuelan gangs. They don't even hate America. They see it as like, imagine you were a biker in the 70s who went to Tokyo. Like it's just theirs for the picking. You know, they want to fuck the prostitutes and rob the stores and like eat turkey on the street and laugh at people. Like they see themselves as like orcs who are just here to destroy.
People watching this will think, well, that just sounds insane. Now, I watched Donald Trump say that people with different cultures are coming into the country and they are eating the cats and the dogs. The day after he said that, because he got completely denounced and laughed at as if it was just complete nonsense.
Yeah.
I then go on X and every 1 in 5 videos I'm seeing is somebody of a different culture eating a cat or a dog. So I've seen it with my own eyes. So
Yeah.
you can ridicule Trump all you like for statements that you like to sweep under the carpet, the actual facts of it. I've seen it with my own eyes, and it got to the point where I couldn't watch it anymore because I found it distressing.
Yeah.
I genuinely found it distressing. So it's insane that they want to denounce a man that is, in fact, telling the truth. And it can now be proven on X because Elon Musk has given people the free will to express themselves more than they were before.
This is the 4D chess that Trump always does. He plays dumb. So say he had you investigated. He saw you building bombs. He'd say, are you positive? Let me see the footage. Liam is making bombs in his garage. We've seen it. Okay, triple verified, quadruple verified. Got it. Liam's a terrorist. Got it. Then he'll go publicly and he'll say, I don't know. I got a bad feeling about that Liam guy. He just kind of rubs me. I could be wrong, but he just kind of rubs me the wrong way. And then people go, you're nuts, you're insane. Then a month later, they find your bombs and they go, holy fuck, Trump was right all along. So he finds out something, makes sure it's quadruple verified, and then portrays it as a hunch that might be true. And he ends up looking like a fucking prophet.
It's insane how many people like to challenge his intellect when, in fact, he's one of the smartest men on the planet.
Running a business in New York is, like, New York is so corrupt that running real estate there is the same as being Scarface. Like, I've run businesses in New York that they bitch about Trump not paying his guys. The way it works there is you get a bid to build something for $10. The bill comes in at 14. You end up paying 12. So then they say Trump didn't pay his full 14. No, you're paying, like the Jacob Javits Center. That's a massive building. It's the size of Madison Square Garden. They have conventions there. That was all mob. That was the Westies and the five families warring with the Irish Mafia and the Italian Mafia warring with each other because it was in the Irish Mafia's turf, but the mob usually handles construction. So that was a massive war. Like the fact that he is able to survive in that city and become a billionaire with skyscrapers is a marvel. Like he should win the Fields Medal in mathematics for it because it's that complicated.
He's certainly a guy that I look at and think, wow, because he's accused of being a narcissist and he wants to be loved by everybody. And it's like, well, if you want to be loved by everybody, you don't go into politics when it's split down the middle.
Yeah.
Immediately, 50% of the country hate you.
Exactly.
Because over in the States, it really is strong left versus strong right.
Oh yeah. Well, we are divorced. Like it's in the 50s and 60s, you had Gore Vidal and William F. Buckley, the right and the left, having a debate, sitting laid back in their suits. And there was the free speech movement from the left at Berkeley and everything and Cornell West. And we liked each other. There was a massive disagreement about Vietnam. But outside of that, we were sort of on the same page. They didn't like Reagan, same way Thatcher was disliked for her mass privatization. But this is different. This is fuck you. You're dead to me. I don't want to talk to you. I think social media might be to blame because you're on Facebook and you're a lefty and you just hear that Trump is a racist and everyone who likes him is racist and he wants to grab women by the pussy and black people are victims. And you in that bubble, the algorithm keeps feeding it. And the algorithm, by its very nature, doesn't want to give you any positive stories or rebut anything. X is the only place where arguments are rebuked. Everywhere else just feeds you. So then you become more and more insular and you end up hating. And now we have, for the first time ever, the conservative isn't allowed to go to Thanksgiving with the family. He's not invited to Christmas because they're not speaking to each other. And I'm obviously biased because I'm on the right, but I think it's more of a lefty thing. I don't see a lot of conservatives saying that liberal can't come to Thanksgiving dinner. But I definitely see it coming from the left. Yeah,
it's bizarre. Have you got a hunch who's behind the attempted assassination of Trump?
Okay, so the new plan is severe retardation. That's the plan. It used to be, let's hire a guy, right? We'll groom him like Lee Harvey Oswald. That was a grand plan. We'll get him. We'll have him assassinated, everything. The problem with that is there's a paper trail. So the new plan is, I'm going to be so shitty at my job and so retarded that it makes it easier for him to be assassinated. Like with Governor Whitmer, there was a plan to have her kidnapped, and the FBI got involved, and they started going online and saying to everyone, we got to take action. We got to start kidnapping politicians. Eventually, some guy's like, I want to do it. So they get those tards, and they go to do it. And then they say, ha, joke's on you, you're framed. That didn't stand up in court because a third of the guys planning this kidnapping were FBI. So it was clear entrapment. So they go, okay, we can't do that anymore. That was very recently, by the way. So the new thing is, I'll just make the Secret Service so terrible that when the assassin comes, it'll be easy for him to get there. And on top of that, I'm just going to feed the entire internet with that same sort of algorithmic hysteria I was talking about earlier and say Trump is evil, there's going to be no more future if he's there, he has to be taken out. And the liberal media keeps pushing these tropes, he has to be exterminated. The DNC keeps saying not very subtle indications that he has to be killed. Eventually you're going to get who's going to take that up? He goes there. The Secret Service that day was all chicks. They were like 5, 6. One of them left to go breastfeed. They had taken a course, a 3-hour online course to be Secret Service, which you'd assume would all be like 6'4" fucking Green Berets. Whoever fucking BlackRock uses, you'd assume would be those guys. Bortec, they're called in the States, and they catch every bad guy. They're the elite security force. So that, and the beauty of that for the left is there's no paper trail. I didn't hire him. I just sent out propaganda that a lunatic clinged onto. And that's the same as the second one. So in the second one, they didn't have retarded Secret Service, but it was enough just to have a crazy lunatic who had fallen for their propaganda. But they're just going to keep doing this. Unless Trump gets his own security, they're going to make sure that there's a lot of loopholes, a lot of literal holes in the fence. And they're going to keep mailing out propaganda and getting organic assassins to come. So that is the ultimate argument I find with politics. And it always comes down to, are they evil or retarded, or a combination of both? I'm more of a retarded guy, but a lot of the people who subscribe to my network and the guy I do it with, Anthony Cumia, they're more like evil. It's a grand plan and these chess pieces are put in there. I see it more as they just throw shit at the wall and see what sticks.
One more question before we go right back to the beginning of your life, because I've been following the P. Diddy scandal of late, and I'm just wondering how it's being pumped into the media in the States, seeing as, I mean, he was a hero for years. And whatever he's been doing has been clearly covered up for years. So what information are you receiving in the States about P. Diddy?
I hate this story. The evil side says it's a distraction to change our minds. I'm more of a retarded person. I see it as it's just garbage. But I was thinking the other day, I resent the attention this gets. This isn't going to be a very popular opinion, but I don't give a fuck if a bunch of adults were fucking each other in the butt and having big, gigantic orgies, as long as they were adults. And even with Epstein Island, if they were 17, 16, I mean, it's gross, but it's not a priority of mine. Like, who do you think Led Zeppelin and Motley Crue were fucking? Sexy and 17 was a song by the Stray Cats. You know, she was just 17, if you know what I mean. The Beatles. Like, fucking teens is not my cup of tea, but I don't want to hear about it. And my problem is it distracts from actual child fuckers. Like, let's focus on prepubescent sex crimes. That is the scandal. That has to be the top priority. And when you get into these pervert gay parties, you muddy the waters. So when I saw P. Diddy, the first time I saw him, I was like, clearly a fan. And this guy's having gays over and being disgusting with thousands of bottles of lube. Go bananas. I couldn't care less. I just don't like the attention it gets when there's real serious sex crimes, like your BBC guy.
Hugh Edwards.
Yeah. Like that when you think of pedophilia, I want you to think of that. I don't want you to think of a gay orgy. I sound like I go to gay orgies, don't I?
Well, no,
they're fine. God.
As much as I don't agree with fully grown men sleeping with teens, it is a valid point. And it's funny you say that. All the old records, they are talking about teenagers in love. And
if a 17-year-old girl was at Epstein Island, I don't like it, but I don't care. I'm not that mad. I shouldn't say I don't care. I'm against it. But again, people don't realize how mainstream teenage sluts are. Children are being raped. That is the issue at hand. And it's getting, like, this drag queen story hour is opening the door to that. You have these men, they're never drag kings, by the way. You know what a drag king is? It's when a lesbian dresses up as a man. She's got like a fake mustache and a suit on, and she says, "Hi, I'm a man." It's just as ridiculous. But Why is it never a drag king? It's always a drag queen. It's very sexual. Those kids are 5 years old. We're talking about cutting lesbians' tits off, these chemical castration drugs where you're infertile for the rest of your life. You can't get a tattoo, but you can permanently alter your ability to breed. That's where I want the attention to go.
Because I fall into the bracket of people that are absolutely outraged and disgusted by the likes of P. Diddy's behaviour, Jeffrey Epstein. If he didn't hang himself, I don't care how he died. As long as he's dead, that suits me. So I do fall into the bracket of people that are outraged and disgusted by fully grown men sleeping with teens, even legal teens. But you're absolutely right. Because I'm so shocked and outraged, I've never actually thought to myself, this is actually a distraction from the real dark, sinister stuff.
And it almost makes the dark, sinister stuff more palatable to throw teens in there. I want it to be very distinct.
And that's great food for thought.
But that being said, I have fucked teens when I was a teen, and it was terrible. Remember that?
It's a long time ago.
It was always like, ow, no, you're like, my leg, ow, at best. Or the other ones, she'd just be like, as you were on top of her. I want her to be 35, divorced, with long tits and terrible tattoos that she deeply regrets.
Yeah, so just for the record, you're into women, not teens.
Yeah, I want a whore. Like we'd go to strip clubs, and if they were nice, I'm like, can we get out of here? I want a Puerto Rican single mom with orthopedic socks on and a scar on her face. Because I fucked those, and it was incredible. Yeah. Well, you're like, whoa, careful, it's going to come off the hinges.
Fucking hell. Well, I think this is a nice time to start your life story.
Okay.
Right from the beginning, now that people have got a feel of your fibre. Yeah, and you know what? Before we go back to the beginning, we need more comedians like you to resurface to the forefront of comedy, talking and laughing about the things that are a struggle and that we're not supposed to talk about, because it's a lovely coping mechanism to laugh at things that really stress you out and add additional strain to your life. And people just seem too scared to say anything out of place now in case they're labelled. We need men like you that come back and say, I don't give a fuck. That's funny. I'm going to joke about it.
Well, I think that's happening. I'm really excited about where comedy is going right now. Shane Gillis is this guy who got a job at SNL, Saturday Night Live, and he was canceled because they found some dumb racist joke that wasn't even him from years and years back. He overcame that and became one of the top comedians in the country now. Same with Louis C.K., but that was a different controversy. Or just the other day, Alex Stein, he calls himself Primetime Alex Stein, he opened for Tucker Carlson, and his set was the most offensive, racist set you could imagine. And, you know, the liberal media was outraged. And I just saw a tweet where this guy was being interviewed about it, this head of the local Fort Worth, Texas GOP. And he told the journalist to go fuck himself. And that's how you get rid of their power, is you be offensive, you enjoy good comedy, and then when they say, you said these jokes, you're in trouble, I want an apology, you go tell them to go fuck themselves, and they lose all their power.
Double down on it.
Yeah. I've heard this, not to get too dark, but I've heard this with pedophiles, where you read the story of the victim, and they said, one day I just laughed in his face, and he had no power over me after that. It's an unfortunate analogy, but generally, like, the worst thing you can do to these monsters is say, I apologize, Alex Stein doesn't represent who we are as a party. We're firing him, you know. Then you've just given the monster, it's like Monsters, Inc. They live off children's screams, that cartoon. You don't scream, the monsters have no power. And I think we're slowly realizing that as a nation, or at least the right has.
Do you remember Eddie Murphy, Delirious and Raw?
Yes.
So Eddie Murphy, a young black man in his prime, genius beyond any doubt. And I'll tell you my favourite parts of his act in both Delirious and Raw, because people can't have it both ways. I loved it from start to finish. But my favourite parts of Delirious and Raw, Eddie Murphy as a black man, was when he was taking the piss out of white men. When he'd done the white voice.
Right, yeah.
His whole body language, how stiff we are, and it just, every time it has me in stitches. And do I take offence to a black man taking the piss out of my race? Absolutely not. He's just observing our differences and our little nuances, and he's amplifying them for comedic value. And for me, it works. People can take the piss out of my colour, my beliefs, my hairline. If it's funny, and I don't take offence. And I think more people should adopt that attitude, because we're not here for a long time.
Well, it always shocks people when I say it, but straight white male conservatives are the least racist group in the country, in every country, in the world. I don't know why that is, but we're unoffendable. We invented the whole idea of equality. Like the West pioneered this notion of come here, work your ass off. You don't even have to be my religion, but you have to respect my religion. Please wave a flag. It's not mandatory, but we'd appreciate it. And you're in. You're a Brit now. You're French now. You're American now. That's a Western notion we invented, and we're known as the racist ones. Fuck you.
And I'm looking forward to the part when you let the listeners and the viewers know where your wife's from.
My wife's an American Indian. I thought she was Asian when I met her. And then I thought, fuck, you're tall. But yeah, she's full on. My children all have Indian middle names. And, you know, they're members of the tribe. They go to powwows when they're back in Wisconsin, and they're in touch with their Indian culture. You know, we had a big teepee in our backyard upstate. But my children are ostracized because I'm seen as a racist. So, and the other funny thing about my kids is I'm in a very wealthy sort of upper middle class, predominantly Jewish neighborhood. I don't know why. And so Jews are white. So you have these white people who ostracize my kids. So my kids end up hanging out with mostly black kids because that's all they're allowed to hang out with. So, and my kids, like, especially my youngest boy, he looks very Asian. You know, Indians, I always say you're not considered an Indian unless people think that you're Chinese. You know, they have the eyes a little bit, they're darker. And I thought, so now we have these white kids that are told they can't hang out with my son, my Indian son, and his black best friend because their father is in a racist hate group. Like, you can't even talk to these people.
Make that make sense.
There's no logic there. I tried when I first moved there. I was like, anyone who wants to talk to me, sit down. I'll be at this bar at this time. You know, you can beat me up if you want to fight. Let's talk. And those people that do meet you, they're curious. So they don't hate you because they can look you up. It's the incurious that we're at war with. And those people, this is religion to them. You're a blasphemer. It's the Salem witch trials. What are you going to do if you're accused of being a witch in Salem? Say, no, I'm not. I promise. Let's discuss. They don't want to. They want to drown you to see how witchy you are. So that's why I said earlier, it's a divorce. Like, fuck these people.
And they'll use lies against you. It's funny because me and my black pals, we laugh about racism because it's always white people that are talking about racism. Me and my black pals sit there talking about money and sports and everything but race. It's the colour of our skin's neither here nor there.
And when you see these liberals around actual blacks, they're so uncomfortable.
Yeah. How many black friends have you actually got? None. Who's the fucking racist here?
The way they do the handshake, they do the thing, and then they're not sure if they should hug or not. I relish it. I love watching them.
Do we give each other skin? Do we fist pump? Like, how do these guys do it?
What's up? Yo.
God, you know what? Already there's so much content that could be chopped out and taken out of context. But
yeah. I got interviewed by ABC News once, and the woman said, she said, the way you talk, these things could be taken out of context. Don't you think you should say things that can't be taken out of context? And I go, fuck that. No way. That is Maoism. That's gray. So now we're all wearing these gray Maoist military uniforms, and every sentence we say, every word we say cannot be taken out of context. That's the trouble with the war on comedy, too. Like that Alex Stein bit about the dogs. when you're doing comedy, you don't know if I'm doing a guy, maybe I'm mocking racism. Like that's the beauty of the painting is it's open to interpretation. And I'm not going to make sure every painting is just gray. We want color. We've had color forever. Color defines the West too.
And you're well travelled, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're qualified to talk about different nationalities, different cultures.
They all suck.
Who's your favourite?
Like China, I lived in Taiwan for a while, and they have no emotions. So, like, a woman wipes out on her moped, she's waiting for the ambulance, blood is pouring from her leg, and she's just stoic, like. Whereas we'd be going, fucking hell, ow, 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 ow. Like, they don't express themselves. They call us sentimental because we cry when, our relatives are leaving and stuff like that.
And imagine I'm not a Brit. What do you think of Brits?
Well, that's a tough question. Like, what is Britain now?
That's a good point.
I see it differently every time I come here. Like last time I came, I went I went around London, sort of the west part of the town, Milton Keynes and stuff, and wherever Mick Jagger was born. I forget that town, but I was very heartened to see like Harrington's and Dr. Martens and pubs and cigarettes and fish and chip shops. And it was the Britain that I grew up in. Well, I left here when I was 5, but I've been coming back every year of my whole life. And so that's exciting. But the Sadiq Khan's London and Tier Kier's replacement, like I really think they're trying to end that Britain. And I'm really worried about it because there's so few lions. There's Tommy Robinson, that's it. Who else is out there willing to die to protect? And he's not just there to wave the Union Jack. He's not like, oi, there's way too... His accent with that oi. Oi, I'm not here. He sounds like a fucking Northern English farmer or something.
The Luton twang, that is.
Yeah. Why do they say oi? I'm not. Anyway, he's not saying I don't want any brown people in my country or anything like that. He just doesn't like child rape. And the way he gets treated, you'd think he was a child rapist.
Tommy's actually got people on X at the moment attacking him for not being nationalist enough.
Yeah.
He can't win. Now, you know Tommy Robinson.
Yes.
You've spent a lot of time with him. He's interviewed you also. And you've socialised with him. And you've got to speak to him off camera. And you know the real Tom. What do you think of him?
He's got no balls. That's right. Just kidding, Tom. Don't kill me. He's a family man. The perception and the reality of Tommy could not be farther apart. I worry about him because it's one thing to have like the Krays want to get you or the Essex Boys. This is the state, the British government. The British government at one point dominated the entire world. The empire ran from coast to coast. And now they're focused on one man. The guys who made India and Canada and Australia and New Zealand and the Falklands are now out to get one man. And they don't need logic either. I mean, the first charge, what was that? Contempt of court. He did 2 sentences, double jeopardy for contempt of court. The only other person who got contempt of court was like a £3,000 fine that he refused to pay. And now he's facing charges for releasing a documentary that exonerates him. And now he's getting this terrorism charge because people were rioting after 3 girls were stabbed. Maybe it's the 3 girls being stabbed to death that caused the riots and not Tommy Robinson, just possibly. But if he goes to jail for that, it'll be instant martyr status. I mean, I hope Britain pops off after that. I hope that they fight because, well, I hope that doesn't get taken out of context and I get charged.
Yeah.
Know what I mean?
What do you mean by fight, just to be clear?
Stand up for him. I mean, don't destroy things. Don't do anything illegal. But stand up for Tommy and embarrass. This is, I think, our best weapon.
Make your voice heard.
Make your voice heard. And this doesn't sound very exciting or cool, but embarrass these politicians. Like publish their stories. Get people. This was the guy behind that. Let's take the curtain of they away and see these actual barristers, judges. Like, let it be known that this was their idea. Embarrass them.
Completely. And it's a shame I have to say this, but I do have to say this because Tier Kier has gone out of his way to incarcerate people for things that really should have been maybe a slap on the wrist, a warning.
And I heard of some guy got a visit from the police for putting up a Union Jack on Facebook. And that's what I mean about I want to replace, this is Kier talking, I want to replace the prison population with patriots who aren't voting for me anyway.
Yeah.
So if you put up a Union Jack, I know you don't like me, so let's get you in prison and I'll get the criminals out and they'll vote for me.
Yeah. And so what I wanted to say was, for the record, because who knows what the future may bring, and I think people are going to get a lot more angry before they become calm and acceptant of Kier's government. I do not condone or promote the use of violence, throwing bricks at police, setting fire to buildings. Any of that knuckle-dragging stuff is only going to prove Keir Starmer right. It's going to prove the left right. You're going to play right into their hands. I think that peaceful protests in numbers are going to do the job, embarrassing the establishment with facts and words, and keep the voice going and keep the movement going. But you've got to do it in a sophisticated way where you can't be labelled or branded a far-right moron. You've got to box clever.
Well, we got to box clever, and we got to do what they do. So it's not in our nature to, snitch and embarrass other people, but that's what we have to do. And another thing that's not in our nature is lawfare and suing, the establishment for violating your rights. We don't like doing that. We'd rather just get to work and not complain. But we have to complain because that's all we've got left. And this is true of the states. People say, "Oh, what's going to happen if Trump loses?" And it's a distinct possibility because Kamala has the stupid community in the palm of her hands, but they might win. And I keep explaining I must have done 100 interviews with European news journalists over the past few weeks, and they're like, so the Proud Boys are going to destroy America if Trump loses? I'm like, you threw them all in jail for one riot where a window was broken and they stayed within the velvet ropes and took some selfies.
Is this January the 6th?
January 6th, got 30-year sentences, 20-year sentences. So they've made it very clear that you get jail if you're on the right for the slightest transgression. There's going to be no rioting. You're the rioters. You left-wing media, left-wingers, you're the rioters. You're the ones that destroy the country. You burnt it down for 2 years. While small businesses were suffering from COVID, you threw bricks through their windows and burned them. And your question is, what will the Proud Boys get up to? How about what you've been up to? You've already wrecked the country.
Well, let's build up to the Proud Boys, how and why they were formed by you. And let's start with, so we just mentioned Tommy Robinson, and ironically, coincidentally, you were born not too far from where Tommy's from.
My mum used to get groceries in Luton. We were in Hitchin. My parents were working class Glaswegians, but my dad was a genius, and he still is. He got pulled over for drunk driving, and he proved he wasn't drunk by doing incredibly complicated math questions, like 111 times 87. He was pissed out of his mind, but they let him go. So right from the slums of the Gorbals, we were in a posh little community in Hitchin.
Yeah, because Hitchin's lovely.
Yeah. And I think he was worried I was turning into a because I heard this 8-track and we were picking apples. And he's like, Gavin, come over here. It took me years to realize he's not mad at me. That's just how he talks. I was always like, he's like, come on here, that's good ones out here. And I'm like, oh, Daddy, I've just found one. It's a flaming beauty. And then he was like, you're on the plane. We went to Canada, and my first day there, I was like, oh, hello. I'm so excited to be here in Canada. I've already probably procured a parker for the windy days. And then within a week, I was like, Maggie Longclaws is pregnant, eh? We got to fucking get a 2-4 and get hammered, fuck. I probably lost my accent faster than any Brit in the history of immigration.
So now you're 5 years of age living in Canada.
Yeah.
And what was your childhood? Brothers and sisters?
Didn't have a brother till I was 14. So I was an only child. It was fucking boring being an only child. But the funny thing about having poor parents who grew up poor is middle class was never for want of anything. Like my dad's toes all look like this because he didn't have shoes. He would have to wear his brother's shoes and his feet were always in pain. But I got all the shoes I needed. But they were so fucking cheap that I never got anything cool. like all my friends had the Bionic Man in the 70s, and I got his fucking boss, Oscar Goldman. So it's just a guy in a suit at a desk. So the guys would come to my house because Oscar Goldman would give Bionic Man the assignments, and then they could go have cool shit with their Bionic Man as I fucking filled out paperwork. So I want a new class of people, middle-class kids who got poor people presents.
And what were you like at school? Being a comedian, you'd expect you to be a comedian way back then.
Yep. My dad, in the Gorbals, he thought, and he grew up in a world where his brothers weren't educated and they were poor, and he was educated and he's rich. Therefore, everything's about education. And that's just not true, especially now, right? And in Canada, I was a punk, and that was like the teachers were so bored, they liked that there was a punk in the class. It was like colorful, but I had to hide my punk clothes in the bushes and leave the house looking normal and then get dressed in the bush on the way to school. But yeah, I remember I was probably about 12 at the time, and Mr. Brown, he said, look, we have a dress code. I'm supposed to tell you about the dress code, but this was from the 70s when people were wearing short shorts and stuff, and it's 1982 now. You guys all look perfectly reasonable, so I don't. And then I remember putting up my hand and go, I have an idea, Mr. Brown. How about we all come to school nude, and then we don't have to worry about it? And he said, well, why don't you start? And I said, ladies first. And I was sent out into the hall at 12. And that's shortly after that, I was sent to a retard class for special needs people. And it was really just a garbage dump for all the students the teachers didn't want to look at. So there was a girl there who had cancer. She was bald, had no eyebrows, a little bandana on. Her marks were fine. She's just depressing to look at. So she was in that class. This guy, Steve Zarth, he had 100 in math, but he was in the class because he was autistic and weird. But most of them were just absolute retards. Like I remember this kid, Brian Dunn, he had a 17 in math, and his dad was going to buy him a bike if he got up to a 27 in math. And I was like, Brian, it's an F. 49 and down is an F. You don't deserve a bike. You're fucked. But my dad would always get so fucking mad about these detentions and stuff for being the class clown. But you were saying earlier that it's brave to, have balls out comedy and never hold back. It's not a choice. I'm not brave. I tried my hardest. My dad was fucking livid when I was in the retarded class.
You just can't help yourself.
I can't. And I would physically like try to shut up and try to not have a great line. Like, you shower and I'll shower. But I just couldn't do it. He would get so holy shit. One time he came to parent-teacher interviews and it said on the board, detention, Gavin McInnes. And he picked me up. He threw me about 10 feet when we got home. He never really hurt me, but he would throw me all over the fucking place.
And you said you was a punk. So who was your inspiration music-wise?
Well, I was a punk in the early 80s, and I kind of liked that better than the late 70s punk when it was just rubber boots and pajamas and like you'd spray paint your beard orange. In the early 80s, you had to have like Dr. Martens, Boy of London bondage pants. You needed a motorcycle jacket. You had to be in a band. You had to promote shows. You had to support the scene. If you had a mohawk, you had to be bald on the sides. You couldn't grow any hair on the sides. We had so many rules. It must drive them nuts now where you could just be a woman by saying, I identify as a woman. You can have a beard and everything and short hair, just say I'm a woman. You couldn't have a beard as a punk. So that back then it was GBH and Crass. I was really into Crass. I used to visit them up here in Essex at Dial House. We became friends many years later, but they X'd me during that whole Trump derangement syndrome thing. But yeah, I was like into anarcho-punk and Discharge and what do they call it, D-punk.
And when you formed your own band, what was the genre? Punk?
It was like punk hardcore. America took punk. You know how the word color there is COLOR?
Yes.
They're like, why is a fucking U here? Get this out of here. So when they got punk, they're like, what's with the fucking outfits? That's a waste of time. We're wearing a T-shirt and jeans, and these songs are too slow, and cut out the solos. It sounds like rock. So they stripped it down, and they made hardcore, which is fast, cheap, and easy, and that's the way America works. So the 80s was like a combination of those. Punk was being replaced by hardcore. So we were kind of a replacement of that, but we were We were like clown punk, they called it, because we were called anal Chinook. Chinook is an Inuit word for warm wind, and so it means fart.
Who come up with that name?
Blake Jacobs. Yeah, he was the guitarist. And we do big elaborate plots. So one show we opened for the Dead Milkmen. We had Ozzy Osbourne come out on stage, played by a fat black guy. And then Rodney Anonymous Mellencamp, the singer of the Dead Milkmen, he comes out with a pitchfork and kills Ozzy. So he's dressed as a priest. So we're mortified. Ozzy Osbourne is dead. So then the whole show was about trying to and with the help of the crowd, trying to bring Ozzy back from the dead with seances. And eventually at the end of the show, we all shit into a bucket. And that created this incredible energy.
What, did you actually shit?
No, we had chocolate bars in the bucket. But my mom was at that show. And we threw the chocolate bars out into the crowd. Everyone's screaming. They think we're throwing shit at them. And that brought Ozzy back from the grave.
And how old were you then?
17 to... And then we started a band called Leather Ass Buttfuck when I was 20. That was more of an industrial kind of a band. You know where we got that name?
I was going to ask.
So we're in Amsterdam.
Where's the inspiration come from that one?
We're in Amsterdam, and we go to all these sex shops, and we go, "What's your worst magazine?" The craziest, like it's in the back, and you have to lock the door. And he goes, "All right, but it's 25 euros." I'm like, "No problem. I'm not going to buy it, but no problem." So he goes, "All right." And he goes to the back and he pulls out this magazine called Leather Ass Buttfuck. It's all one word. So we didn't buy it, but we took the name.
Priceless. Do you know? And how old were you then when you performed the second band?
Like 20, 21.
Do you know what? What a beautiful way to spend your teens into early adulthood. You mean most kids now, they're glued to their phones and meeting people online, no human interaction, no creativity.
Punk rock changed my life. I'm so thankful to it. I mean, it taught me how to be an entrepreneur. We would put on shows. Like we flew down Oi Polloi from Scotland to play shows. That was plane tickets and guarantees. We could have lost our shirts with that. We were producing records. You're putting up flyers all over town, having them printed and shit. Talking to the venue owner, getting the space, putting the deposit down, and then with bands, you're practicing. You're trying to get the songs right and all that shit.
What was your role in the band?
Singer.
Yeah,
I can't play an instrument. I tried, but the other great thing was the pit. Like you're 17, you have all this pent up frustration. It could easily lead to gang violence. And what do? You're in there thrashing with each other, drenched in sweat, jumping off the stage. I mean, I couldn't think of a better thing for a teenage boy to be doing than slamming and thrashing in a pit. Yeah, and then we had drama too with the Nazi skinheads. They were out to get us. They were fighting us. And these guys were right out of a fucking action movie. There was Joff, who would go to the States to get guns for the imminent revolution. He ended up killing himself by putting a machine gun in his mouth and had a broom pole. And he went while talking to his ex, who wasn't letting him see his kid. That's the boring guy. Then there was Wolf, who carried a cane. The handle was a rapier. It's a James Bond movie. And then there was Francois, because we're next to Quebec, so there's French people around. His back was Klansmen marching into battle on I don't know if it was a fox hunt or something. There was a little dog going down the back of his pants. Like these massive Klansmen, his entire fucking back with swastika tattoos. Like when they call people Nazis today, I'm like, no, we used to, I'm not going to say fight. We used to get beaten up by like real fucking Nazis. It was scary as shit and also exciting. So I learned all that stuff. So then when we finally, started running a business, it felt normal. And that's the problem too with mass immigration is these kids don't get their economic libido. If you're not cleaning pools and mowing lawns and putting on shows, you start your adult life after college at 23 and you're a child.
Forever.
You're a 13-year-old forever, yeah.
So what come after the band? Was it Vice magazine?
Yeah, immediately. Like I started that at 24 with my childhood friend, the guitarist from Leather Ass Buttfuck, Shane Smith. And we were English people in Quebec. So I moved to Quebec when I was 18. Quebec's a different country. And They hate the English there, second-class citizens. So it was funny when I came to America in the 90s and everyone was talking about race. I'm like, race? You mean language, French versus English, right? No. So it was we couldn't get work. I was a bike messenger and I was planting trees up north and doing horrible shit labor jobs. And we heard about these Haitians who were starting a magazine that promotes diversity. And it pays $600 a week, which was an insane amount of money. But you have to be on welfare because it's a program to get people off of welfare. So I've never been on welfare. And if you ever want to do it, this is what you do. You walk into the office cross-eyed and you go, hi, I'm here to fill out the forms for welfares. Don't say I'm an able-bodied person who's down on his luck. They're not interested. So you cross your eyes and then you fill out all the forms with your left hand. So it looks even more retarded. Dude, I had it in like 10 minutes. She gave me $100 as I walked out. I'm like, thank you. Walked out, got on welfare, was on welfare for a week, and then got off it with the program. And we just said, yeah, we're not talking about diversity. We're going to make this a skateboard magazine with punk bands and stuff and, weirdos, and it'll be our little zine. So we did that for a while. And then we realized that this was just a scam and they didn't want us to grow because they were getting paid for this stuff. They're criminals. And so we were scared of them. We left. We paid them off $36,000 over the course of 2 years. This is when we're 26 years old. $36,000, like that was $3.6 million to us. But we eventually paid it off. We changed the name of Voice of Montreal to Vice and became independent.
Just describe in detail what Vice magazine used to be. Did you sell advertising space within there? What kind of stories?
So it was a free magazine, but we lived off advertising. And it was that punk rock ethos of no is not an option. For example, at the risk of boring everyone, this company, Cargo Records, they said, we can get you national distribution and you won't just be in Montreal. So we were very excited. So we started selling ourselves to advertisers as a national magazine. So now we're getting national money from big record labels and stuff. It was mostly record labels that would advertise it. And some like Raver Fashion. This is the 90s. And then like 2 days before, this guy, Kevin Yakamoto, calls us and goes, oh, I didn't realize it adds tons of weight to the, he was a CD distributor that said, I'll just put your newspapers in my CD boxes and you can be national. And he goes, oh, it adds tons of money to the freight, so I can't do it. It changes everything. I'm out. And this is when other people would fail, right? And they go, oh, well, we can't do that thing. We had that DIY, economic libido, no is not an option. So we got on the phone and we just started calling like record stores and other places across the country. And we said, we're going to send stuff to you on a Greyhound bus. When you get it, distribute it for free everywhere. And then we'll put your ad in the newspaper for free. So it won't be this month, obviously, but it'll be next month. And so now they have an incentive to get the magazine everywhere because their ad is in there. And that's how we set up national distribution.
That's their vested interest.
Yeah. We set that up in like 48 hours.
Wow.
Staying up all night. And it was that ethos that kept us alive. Like after we moved to New York City, we realized that this millionaire who was funding everything was full of shit. And it was basically a pyramid scheme. And he didn't really have any money. And we got evicted. So we went from like money is free to negative $300,000 in debt. And so we moved into Williamsburg, Brooklyn, which was a shithole at the time. And we just set up our shop in one of our clients' storage rooms. So we're surrounded with boxes, and we rebuilt the company from scratch then in like 2002.
And without being modest, to give people context of the size of Vice, because even Joe Rogan, he said he was interested in you because of Vice, because it's a big deal, because it expanded into other countries.
Yep. It was my brain. That's what the content was. And I'm weird. So Shane was the business guy. He was the sales guy. He quickly realized that we're reaching this ceiling of 10,000 people that like it per city. And even if you could give free copies to the rest of the city, they don't want it. Like they're not interested in. We had things like the gross jar, where every month we put something else in this jar, like puke, skin, shit, and it just kept getting grosser and grosser. Milk, as the months went on. I don't know what eventually happened to that fucking jar. So that's the kind of shit we would do. One time we did surgery. This guy had a tumor on his neck. And we're like, we got to get rid of that. So we got him drunk, froze, and then with an X-Acto knife, removed his tumor and stitched him up. It's really gross, like cartilage, kind of chicken's gristle. So he said, okay, we'll just get all the weirdos in every town in the world. And, we went to Antwerp and to Stuttgart, and we would give them the PDF and say, you can translate that into German and have it, but sell your own ads. And ideally start writing your own features, because this is about the skateboard scene in San Francisco. I don't think people in Stuttgart give a fuck. And so they started creating their own content. It was a great blueprint. And it took, a lot of nagging and checking in on people, making sure they don't fuck off with your money. That was another big problem with expansion. But that attracts investors because they love young dollars. The 18 to 25 is the most coveted, demographic. But then we started growing to a point where my weirdness was annoying investors. We did a fashion shoot once where people were actually fucking in the fashion shoot. Like, you couldn't see cock going into cock, but you could tell. And that lost us Yamaha, which was $100,000.
Was that your biggest sponsor?
No, but it was a big one. And that sales guy who has that client, he's getting $15,000 a year out of that.
Commission.
It's a major part of his salary. So I just took $15,000 away from him. So he was not happy. And I liked that, actually. I liked that editorial and advertising hated each other. And I actually put them in separate sides of the office to create animosity. Because if you're doing advertorials, which UK Vice used to do all the time, it drove me nuts, then people can smell that you're being paid to write this, and it's not interesting anymore. So then I was basically pushed out around 2008.
After how many years of running it?
15 years.
And then the investors pushed you out because you were too much?
Yeah.
Too outrageous?
Yeah, there was some gay guy who didn't like some of my jokes. You got to understand, when you get big into corporate, you can't say fat. Even though in a sentence I love fat. You have to go to counseling and sit with someone. I literally had to do that. I had to sit with this woman. And I go, but I said I love fat. And she goes, yeah, you can't say anything personal about a person. You can say this person's always late because that affects the job, but you can't say their sexual proclivity. All right. And then I must have been out hundreds of millions of dollars.
I mean, for the record, one of the first conversations you and me had, you were stood there stark bollock naked. I mean, that can be considered...
Yeah, and you said, it's not that cold out. Actually, last night I was so shit-faced that I was, when you're like Winnie the Pooh drunk and you're just like, hello. I wet myself, actually, when I got back to the hotel room. So this morning I had to hot iron my jeans. So if you smell wafts of piss, it's piss.
So you had a good night in London then?
I couldn't find a fucking pub. I looked up the oldest pub in London, and it's called 7 Stars. The shittiest pub you can imagine. It is fucking terrible. It's the size of this table. Everyone's drinking outside. It's all yuppies. There's nowhere to fucking sit. I like sitting at a bar and talking to the barman. Every bartender I met last night was foreign. And I'm not saying a non-white, like Ukrainians and Polish, and they don't get the culture. And they're all rushing around like it's an assembly line. And it's sort of like France, where people like to sit at tables, like the tavern. I think we took your pub culture from the 1800s and sort of froze it. And you've moved on to sitting at tables. We're still at the bar. So I went to the 7 Stars, Scarsdale Tavern, the Churchill Arms, and I couldn't get a bar vibe all night.
There's something very, very special about walking into a bar where people are there to meet new people in person and just having a nice back and forth.
Yeah, that's Glasgow.
Oh, I've just come back from Glasgow. Loved it.
Loved
it.
The violence is always there. It's the elephant in the room. It's floating right there. Like one time I was in there and some guy see that fucking, I'm not going to take. And he was telling a story, and they have barmaids there. Like the same way if you have cows, you should get a bull, even not to fuck, but just the cows behave better when a bull is around. Men behave better when a barmaid is around. They edit themselves.
Tone it down.
Yeah. So she's like, all right, what's that language you? He goes, oh, I'm sorry, hen. Sorry, hen. I apologize. I'm sorry. She says to me, sorry. I go, you don't have to apologize to me. And he goes, I'm not apologizing to you. I was like, oh, fuck, it's going to pop off again. No. One time I went there with my wife and my kid. My daughter was like 1 at the time. And we're going into these pubs and people are staring at me and they're like cracking their knuckles. I'm like, we should get the fuck out of here. And then we leave the pub and they're coming outside of the pub and standing like this. Like I've done something. I'm like, do I have a swastika on me somewhere? What is the issue here? And then I realized it's 11 p.m. We were jet lagged. We weren't paying attention to the time. It's so far north that it's bright as shit at 11 p.m. So they were mad that I was bringing a kid to pubs that late. They were like policing the local parents. Another time, a buddy of mine came and people were coming outside the pub and he calls me from a payphone. I was back at my grand's in Pollock Shaws. And he goes, dude, what the fuck is going on? People are like following me and punching their own fists. And I go, oh, well, what did you do? Did you say something? He goes, I haven't said anything. I didn't open my mouth once. They don't even know I'm American. And I go, what are you wearing? And he goes, I got that raincoat that was hanging. I go, dude, you don't wear a raincoat in Glasgow. Like you'll get killed for a fucking umbrella. It's just not, it's only war. You can't have any rain gear there. It's fucking insane.
I could just picture another Glaswegians punching their own fists.
They'll kill you. I think he might have had a rain hat too, like a yellow hat with a yellow coat with his Wellingtons. I could tell fucking Scotland stories for days.
Well, I'm going to put you on to James English, so eventually you'll make a great guest for him. He's got a very strong Scottish following.
Scots hate me. They're very left-wing, the Scots, because they're obsessed. Canada does this. Ireland does this. They have this underdog shit where they see themselves as like Elvis Presley's little brother. And so when you ask them how they define themselves, they're like, I don't have blue suede shoes and I don't have a hound dog. Like the Scots are obsessed with the English. The English never think about them. Canada's obsessed with America. America never thinks about them. And like you wear a Trump hat in Ireland or fucking Glasgow or Toronto, and people will have a fucking shit fit because Trump represents the overdog, and it's tedious.
Well, I still enjoyed myself in Glasgow, and they're all right by me.
Yeah, they're funny. Just stay away from politics.
But going back to Vice and quickly politics, and we touch base on Tommy, when I stand up for Tom, it's good for people to know that I'm actually standing up for the human being, not the man that the media has processed into your brains.
Yeah.
I know the human being, and I know that he's kind, he's generous, he's loving. He wants the best for his country, all colours and creeds. He wants to protect the vulnerable. And this, I can guarantee because I know him personally.
Right.
And you've spent time with him personally, so you can concur.
You know who's great is his parents.
Ah, yeah, great.
You know, I remember last time I was with Tommy, he was going to jail for the second time. And we go back to his house, and it's late. And I'm like pissed, and I'm like, "Have you got any beer here? What do we got here? What is this fucking Caledonian 80? What the fuck is that?" And I'm just sitting with them, and they're both looking at me like, and I'm like, what the fuck is the vibe here? And then I realized, oh shit, he's going to jail tomorrow where he might die. They want to like fuck and spend some time with each other. And I'm there plunked in their living room like.
Playing air guitar to Led Zeppelin. Everyone's having a good time.
I love your shoes. What are those? They're coming off soon, hopefully, if you would leave.
He does take it well, though. But let's go back. Let's go back to Vice, how that come to an end. And I do like a happy ending. So as much as you can put out there as to how pretty you walked away, and then let's get into the Proud Boys. So let's round off the Vice story.
I got tons and tons of money from leaving, selling my shares.
And why did you leave? You got forced out?
I was forced out, yeah. It took me a long time to admit that. I almost lost my mind. And it wasn't the money, even though that was at least $100 million that I was out.
And Vice was your baby?
It was my baby. Like it was a 16-page newsprint that was distributed in maybe 5 cafes in Montreal in 1994 to a global magazine with a record label and a video division and a TV show and stores everywhere. Like it was endless. It was a multi-channel brand. And I had been policing every part of it too. along the way, like really micromanaging everything, making sure it was perfect, even to the humor. Like, that's not funny. Why was that in there? You know, and sweating every typo. And like having to collapse. One time the do's and don'ts came out and it said the do's and do's. And I had to like lie down in a cold sweat. I was so mortified at that typo because it changes the whole joke. And then poof, that's gone overnight. And they, to cover their asses, did this whole smear campaign where I'm a white supremacist and blah, blah, blah. And that's why I was kicked out. Luckily, no one really bought it. But, you know, that was panicking too. I had a newborn. My wife was very emotional. She was liberal back then, vegan, you know, and she's being portrayed as this white supremacist.
As an Indian woman.
As an Indian woman. Again, don't impose logic. You have to realize you're dealing with a religion. These people are fucking mental patients.
There's a hell of a lot of irony in your story. So even though you left Vice with a very, very healthy pocket full of change, shall we say, life-changing amounts of money, that still obviously affects you mentally. So in between leaving Vice and then forming the Proud Boys, like where did your mind take you?
I just got to stay busy. You know, Jerry Seinfeld was asked, why do you do like shows and stuff? You got enough money. And he goes, I'm just like a woodchuck. Woodchucks have to chuck wood. Like if you take a beaver from the womb and you put him in your house, he'll start collecting various things and building dams in the hallway with like socks and whatever he can find. That's what beavers do. You know, if they don't gnaw constantly, their teeth will grow like down to here. They have to be constantly doing beaver things. And the good thing about the West, I will say, despite all this canceling, is if you bust your ass, you get rewarded. So I just kept woodchucking, and I had a lot of failures. That's what people don't get about entrepreneurs, is for every success, there's 11 things that tanked. So I had a restaurant that failed. I had a website called Street Carnage that was a flop, that was just like Vice, but much raunchier. Like we had a guy doing various push-ups on different drugs. So he took heroin and then saw how many push-ups he could do. Filmed it all.
I mean, you are a madman, aren't you?
I'm a madman. I'm a mad lad. So I was kind of rudderless for a while. And then Fox News. I started doing a column at tackymag.com. There's this eccentric old money guy called Tacky Theodore Acropolis. Fucking mad lad. Holy shit, he's great. Old money, rich Greek tycoon. He's at the airport once, and they search his bag. He was a big cokehead. And he goes, well, I'm glad you didn't search that one. So they search it. He goes to jail. He goes to prison for like 3 years for cocaine possession for a joke. And he goes, I liked it. He's got a Greek accent. I like it. I knew a lot of the guys there from Taekwondo and boxing. I knew them already. So I had a friend group already in there.
Another madman.
Yeah, fuck, he's fun. But what did he say? Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. If Liberace fucked pussy, he'd still be with us. So hanging with him pays well. Fox News likes my column. They invite me on, and then I just start doing crazy comedy on Fox News on this show called Red Eye. And then I would get on Sean Hannity's show and tell women they'd be much happier at home, and tell, you know, some old fat black lady that food stamps are just fat pills. And she's like, there's people starving. I'm like, okay, why are they so fat? Our biggest problem in America is our poor are too fed. They're fucking huge. One time I was on Red Eye and they were talking about anti-Semitism, and you have an earpiece on, and I was like, I think what people don't understand is the real problem with the Jews is, ow, and pretending I was getting shocked. Fuck, one time I went there, I got way too pissed, and I was riding my bike and I smashed my head open. I was bleeding. And I was moving out of an apartment at the time. My wife had already left, so I went back to the empty apartment, lay on the floor there. I had 3 hours to kill and just bled like a big puddle. And then got up in the suit, you get picked up by a car service, went there, and I'm talking to this guy, Jim Norton, the comedian, and he goes, are you bleeding? And I don't realize I'm like going, plip, plip, plip. The blood is coming down my head. And I did the show. And if you catch certain angles, you can see there's blood forming on my fucking collar. So I did that for about 8 years, but I got to say, I kept seeing blacks and gays and women shoot past me. And eventually there was this guy, Tyrus. I don't even think he's black. He pretends to be black. He's a wrestler. And he got this coveted gig I was supposed to get as a co-host. And I was just like, fuck you people. I'm done with this. And I burnt that bridge. And I started doing a podcast at a comedy club. And that caught on, and then that led to a job called the Gavin McInnes Show, and we had a studio audience for that one. And so we had a little crew that kept coming to everyone, and I went to see this. My kids had a music recital, and Puerto Ricans think that singing is an instrument. So like my daughter had her guitar she'd been working on. My son had a little drum thing. He was like 6 or 7. And then this kid comes out and he's like, proud of your boy. And I'm looking around going, you can't sing. It's a music recital. You need a piano or something. And I'm looking around because the song is called Proud of Your Boy. And I'm like, I bet you there's no dad here because he would be fucking embarrassed. Right? And I just see like doting Puerto Rican grandmothers like, oh, and I go, oh, okay, I get it. So I told the story there, and then we look up the song, and it's a really irritating musical song about, bad as I've been, Mum, you're in for a pleasant surprise. I've wasted time, I've wasted me. Some say I'm slow for my age, a late bloomer, okay, I agree. And we're like, this is the gayest fucking song that it's ever, so we would sing it all the time. And we also had a couple losers, like my producer was a 24-year-old virgin, and he didn't think that was an issue. When I was 17, I was the last to lose my virginity, and my friends were like, Big Kimmy's over at our house. She's going to fuck you. If you don't come over here, we're going to kick the shit out of you. Like, I was almost assaulted for waiting so long at 17. 24, it's over. And he didn't care, so we're trying to fix him and stuff. And then
Trying to fix him.
Yes. I got him a stripper, not interested. We're like, get a leather jacket, get a motorcycle. Like, you need to masculinize yourself. Grow a fucking beard. And then we were kind of political too, and we were saying, politics should be focused on important things like respecting the housewife and venerating the entrepreneur, and we need more free speech, and we have to get back to the Second Amendment and guns. That's what this country was founded on. And this drug war is stupid. Pretty left-wing
I was going to say
stuff.
That's very left.
Yeah.
Side
And
of
the
the
Proud
fence.
Boys, they don't care if you're gay. I've been to Proud Boys weddings. Like 2 gay guys are getting married. Obviously, we're in New York City, so it's very metropolitan. So when you start a club, there's going to be Jews, Asians, gays, blacks. It's just the nature of Manhattan.
So were you once upon a time left-leaning?
Yeah. I mean, I was kind of like you. I wasn't very political. I wasn't that interested in it. And Saroush Alvi with his jihad ring, I didn't care. Pakistan was a million miles away.
And who was that guy?
That's the guy I started. So it was Shane Smith, me, and Saroush Alvi, a Pakistani guy.
So our previous business partner was a Pakistani Muslim.
Yes.
Okay, and you had no problem with that because he was a nice guy.
Yeah. And going to America made me patriotic because we made so much money and it was so. Canada's like Britain; it's very socialist and they don't encourage entrepreneurs. You go to America and you want to work hard and they're happy to reward you. So I was very thankful. I call these people who don't do that immigrates. I was very grateful. I wasn't an ingrate, and so I was getting patriotic. But I read this book by Pat Buchanan called "Death of the West," where he warns that we're losing it and. There's a page that Proud Boys read every meeting. Oh, yeah, I forgot to get to the Proud Boys. And he talks about how the West didn't alone invent slavery. He says, it is true our treatment of the Indians was not what one would expect from those to whom the Sermon on the Mount is divine command. And he admits all of these things about we did participate in slavery. We did participate in Jim Crow. But the time for apologies is past. And the West didn't invent slavery. The West alone abolished it. And he goes, if it wasn't for us, they'd still be trafficking slaves in Mauritania, which they're doing in Libya. You can still buy a slave in Africa. So we fought hard to end that, and I'd like a thank you. So Death of the West changed my life. And then I was next to the World Trade Center in the Lower East Side on my roof, and I watched the plane hit the towers. I saw the second plane hit the towers. I watched them collapse. And that, I think, was a revelation for a lot of New Yorkers. Pamela Geller, Anthony Cumia, all these people who were formerly political, we went, okay, wait. What the fuck's been going on? What have you guys been doing? I was letting you handle it, same way you let construction guys handle the roads. You assume that they're putting the tarmac down correctly. Then the road collapsed. And I went, whoa, 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 who's been doing these roads? And that made me look into Islam, and I became an Islamophobe.
You witnessed both planes flying into the Twin Towers.
No, I was woken up by my girlfriend at the time, who's now my wife, and the first one had hit. So one of the World Trade Centers was smoking, and no one had seen the plane yet. And then as we're sitting there watching that, it just looked like a very big fire. So we're like, oh shit, there's a big fire at World Trade. I hope everyone's okay. And then shoom, we saw the second one. And now it's not a coincidence. Now it's not a fire. Now it's a terrorist attack. And that was a hell of a fucking day.
Well, there's one thing seeing it on the news. There's another thing seeing it in the flesh.
Yeah. Well, I always said, why couldn't they have just started rebuilding the towers on September 12th? And then you'd have all these conspiracy theorists, likely British, that'd be like, there's no evidence that even happened. Look, all of that footage hasn't been proven to be true. I don't think it even happened, which would drive the terrorists nuts because they weren't being recorded. But now we have this big, stupid Freedom Tower. It looks like a napkin you use to get a bug out of your eye. And it's a giant fucking shrine to the bravery of the Islamicists who fucking destroyed the World Trade Center.
Did you think you were going to die that day?
No.
How come?
I don't know. It just seemed very contained. We were in a war zone. There was tanks going up and down my street, Houston Street. You had to show a utility bill to get back to your apartment. Everything was closed off in that area.
Is it so surreal that it's almost too much to take in?
Yes, absolutely. My wife and I always say too soon. Even now, what is it, 22 years later, 23 years later, we go too soon. Like I can't look at any documentaries about it or even movies. It brings it all back. But that's what made me political.
Rightly so. Well, I mean, if that doesn't make you political, what will?
Yeah. It's just like Tommy and the grooming gangs. Like you were saying earlier, like you're not political, but don't rape kids. It seems so intuitive to me.
Yeah, there's certain things that I just will not budge on. And if that makes me political, then okay, then I'm political in that field of just despicable, atrocious, unthinkable acts.
Literally unthinkable.
Yeah.
Can you imagine if you were an FBI agent and you had to go through that as a profession?
It's going to really, really tap.
I heard they have to take like a year off regularly. They can't have the volume on, apparently, and they all become alcoholics.
Yeah, PTSD, mental health issues. It's kind of game over. You see enough atrocity, it's going to take its toll.
Yeah, inevitable.
Yeah, I don't envy. In fact, I tip my hat to the frontliners, fire service, police officers, military. Of course, I've got the utmost respect for all of them. And at the moment, I think police in the UK are following out orders that they don't really want to follow out. I imagine there is a strong percentage of police officers that are, at the moment, resigning.
Oh, yeah. It's happening en masse.
Is that happening
in New York City?
In the
masse.
States?
Yep. And much to the establishment's joy, they love it because they can replace them with their own cronies. The other thing people need to get about cops is it's their boss that are the cops. I always say, fuck the police's boss. The guys at the bottom, they have no power. Like when those two Proud Boys were arrested, I would call my guys and I go, what's going on? And all of a sudden, they're not calling me back. And eventually I would get a call back like 3 days later and they go, dude, I don't know who you pissed off, but this is crazy. And I can't talk to you about it. So don't call me anymore about this.
Let's go back to the Proud Boys. We got up to the inspiration of the name of the group. So what is the Proud Boys and why did you form them? And did you form them alone or?
Alone. I was in the Knights of Columbus. It's, the men's clubs. They were ubiquitous from the beginning of the Industrial Revolution right up until the 80s when feminists made them forbidden. You watch the Flintstones or Honeymooners, and they're meeting the Water Buffaloes Club, and they've got a big silly hat and epaulets, and they have a ritual. Men love that. They tell fart jokes. They don't have to pull out chairs. Ann Coulter said after they got rid of them, men could only congregate in strip clubs. There's plenty of women there, but there's no ladies at a strip club. And my problem with the Knights of Columbus was I was the young buck there at 55. They're all 70 in it. So I go, there should be a men's club that's young, and it can be just drinking beer, making jokes. We have our rituals, everything has to be private. There's different degrees, like in the Knights of Columbus. Men love little rules, too.
So do you have principles and tenets?
Principles, tenets, 3 degrees. First tenet, you declare yourself a Western chauvinist who refuses to apologize for creating the modern world. Second, you get a tattoo and you get beaten in, and you have to name 5 breakfast cereals as you're being beaten, which the media makes it this sinister ritual, like some Chicano gang. No, that was called safety slug in high school. If you farted or burped and you didn't say safety, everyone could pound the shit out of you till you named 5 breakfast cereals. And it's hard to concentrate when you're getting pounded.
Under that much pressure.
Yeah. Oh, we would take it down to an art. Like one thing I started to do is punch the feet. Because the problem with the torso is there's too much competition.
No one else wanted the feet.
No one else wants the feet. You're punching other fists and stuff. You get down there, you got your own little canvas, and those are little tiny bones. So you're breaking those. And the guy's like, the next day he'll be like, I don't know what it is, but my feet are the worst part about this. I can barely fucking walk. And then 3rd degree, I forget what maybe 3rd degree is the tattoo. Yeah, 2nd degree was a beating, 3rd degree was a tattoo. And then 4th degree, I said, this guy got arrested the night of Trump for wearing a MAGA hat, and we were having a big Proud Boys party that night. So I said, you know what, you're 4th degree. Like if you endure some horrible suffering on behalf of the club, then you deserve a consolation prize, 4th degree. The media turned that into you have to beat up someone you politically disagree with to get the coveted 4th degree. Like they take everything that's fun and silly and they turn it into evil. Even January 6th, that was a dumb riot. That was a dumb soccer hooligan moment where they broke a window or two. 22 fucking years for insurrection? And they're saying it's worse than Pearl Harbor and 9/11? Fuck you. You burnt this country down for 2 years. You've had a riot every year for 100 years. We have one riot in 100 years. And now I've got the European media asking me what Proud Boys are up to.
So how many people from Proud Boys got sent to jail for January the 6th?
I believe 5. And they all have sentences in the decades.
Wow. And did you get the blame for it?
No, I said don't go. I said this is a trap. I have that on tape, thank God.
So based on my research, you formed the Proud Boys.
Yep.
And then once you left, which we'll find out in a second because we'll go back to it. Once you left the Proud Boys, it was then designated as a terrorist organisation in New Zealand and Canada.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's cover all of that. What the group was, what your part was, why you left, and then how did it spiral off to
But
that?
it didn't spiral off. That's the thing that drives me nuts. Oh, it started as a joke and then it became a dangerous militia. No, it's still a joke. Their parties are still retarded. It's still a drinking club. Like there's Proud Boys Britain. They've never been to a rally in their lives. There's Portugal, there's Ireland, there's Scotland, there's Wales. Those guys just drink beer and like try to get in shape. And they talk about self-improvement and stuff. It's almost like a drinking fitness club. They're vilified and they're not classified as a terrorist group. But the idea that it doesn't have the EDL story where it got infiltrated by Nazis. It was never infiltrated. The media's narration changed.
And what year was Proud Boys formed?
2015.
Okay.
Right before Trump was elected.
And you just had this idea.
So yeah. So we're all doing this shit, singing this song. I say, okay, from now on we're called the Proud Boys. That's the name of our little crew. It'll only be a New York thing. And we'll wear Fred Perry's. I grew up wearing Fred Perry's, so I chose the yellow and black one for no apparent reason. And then it started blowing up in liberal cities like San Francisco, Los Angeles, because these guys can't talk about Trump at work or with their friends or they'll be vilified. So it's a place you can relax and be right-wing. That wasn't the plan, but that's what really made it spread. And men have been dying to have a men's club since they've been abolished in the 80s. So it's not hard. It's like selling weed. You don't have to advertise. People come to you. The demand was there. So that's why it blew up all over the place. And then that night I told you about with the fight where Max Hare and John Kinsman went to jail for 4 years, that's when the narrative went at 90 degrees and totally changed. And then it was the evil white supremacist hate group that when the journalists were confronted with black and brown Proud Boys, they called it multiracial white supremacy. If you can believe that's a fucking phrase. Like I always say to these journalists, okay, so take me through this. It's a Nazi club. There's black people in it. What are they doing when the Nazis are telling like racist jokes? Do they just like sit in the corner and cower? If that's a crazy scenario I just described, shouldn't you be interviewing that guy? That's a weird masochistic racial freak who joins a club that hates him. Like, that's fascinating. Tell me more about that weirdo. Those thousands of weirdos, by the way. But one thing I was going to say about Jan 6, there's a rule with Proud Boys. If they want to have a rally in a town, you need permission from that particular chapter. And there's no DC chapter, but there's a Virginia chapter next door.
Okay, so the Proud Boys have got chapters like the Hells Angels have.
Exactly, yeah. They're like Hells Angels without the crime. And they stole a lot of rules from Hells Angels. Like if you're out, you can't associate with members.
Right.
And rejoin another chapter. So the Proud Boys, Virginia said, no, we are not sanctioning this rally. So the Proud Boys said, okay. And that's why they weren't wearing Fred Perry's. That's why so as my argument is, how is it Proud Boys stormed the Capitol? If they found a bunch of dentists, did dentists storm the Capitol? They weren't there as Proud Boys. They were in civilian gear. It wasn't a club event. So the spiraling is the media's perception, but there is a real potential for EDL spiraling now because when you vilify a club like that, first you lose all the professionals, then you lose all the cops and firemen who don't want to jeopardize their $4 million pension, and then the black guys are getting shit from their families and friends, and next thing you know, you're narrowing down to people who have nothing to lose and don't mind being called Nazis. Which is Nazis. I'm not saying it's there now, but that is the sort of trap you're setting. That's the red carpet you're rolling out when you portray a club like this.
So that's important just to compound on, is that you would have firefighters, police officers, and all kinds of professions within the Proud Boys.
Yeah, lots of cops because it was the only openly pro-cop club in the world at a time when cops were being vilified and sent to prison for murder when they hadn't done anything wrong, like Derek Chauvin. That's just an example, modern example. But yeah, we were very mainstream, like posing with Tucker Carlson. And Trump said you're going to win so much you're going to be sick of winning, and we kept pretending that we're dying of winning AIDS. Because we're so sick of winning. And then we had a vigil in Times Square with candles in honor of all our friends who died of winning AIDS. And we were holding like signs that had Tucker Carlson, and the Chevy Volt was a car that was now being made in America. It used to be made in Mexico. And we had all these victories, and we were singing like these sad songs to our dead friends who died of winning AIDS. That was the club. Like they would have rallies where they had a banner that said, "There's no such thing as boneless wings. Those are just chicken nuggets." But the media won't go near any of the humorous shit because it kills the narrative of the looming deadly Trump army. And by the way, when he said stand back and stand by, it's a running joke in the club that it's his army. He meant to say stand down. When there's camera on you and eyes on you, you have trouble remembering colloquialisms, you can't do math, and names escape you. Names that you would remember instantly without cameras on you. So it's a typo, and they've turned it into this Batman army just waiting for a fucking signal in the sky to take over the country. It's juvenile.
And are Proud Boys still going?
Oh yeah,
but you're out.
Well, I don't discuss whether I'm in or out.
Oh, okay.
But I did that conference to say I was out because Max and John were on trial, but I was the one. They were using all my lines from my show. Now, you're on TV for 800 hours. You're going to, imagine what I could craft even from this episode, like the people have to fight. I could just clip that.
Yeah.
So they're going to take 1 million clips and portray this as a gang where I'm the leader and I made them go out there. So if I decapitate myself, this gang doesn't have a leader. And that actually is the legal definition of a gang. It has top-down management and does illegal activities. So if I take out the top-down management, they won't get gang charges.
And also, if Proud Boys aren't committing crime, then they're also not a gang.
Yeah. Pretty big deal.
So again, like we have in the UK, over in the USA, if the mainstream media and the elite collaborate and they don't like somebody, they will destroy you and your group and everything you stand for.
In a very sort of nuclear way. Like it is
aggressive.
It is, yeah. It goes, what do they call that? DEFCON 3 or whatever. Like they really go for it. I mean, my little American Indian son, like last week, couldn't have someone come over because I'm racist. This is from a switch that was flicked in 2018. 6 years later, this boy wasn't even born when all this shit started.
And at what stage did you get cancelled?
It was that one day. October 2nd, 2018. Remember I told you the mayor was tweeting out no hate in New York?
Yep.
I also lost all my social media around that time because the argument was, well, you're promoting terrorism. He has this hate group. And by you letting him on social media, he can organize and recruit for more hate. And I thought it was funny when the whole Israel thing happened because the message is Proud Boys are Nazis, MAGA is Nazis, and then Israel retaliates against Palestine for October 7th, and people start protesting. Where are the MAGA hats? Where are the Proud Boys? I thought you said we're the anti-Semites. No, the real anti-Semites came out of the woodwork, and it was all the refugees that you welcomed in, all the Muslims that you love, and all the Marxist students that you've been training to hate this country.
Can you define Marxism for me?
Idiotic socialism. I mean, socialism to communism is just Robin to Batman. It's the same thing.
As if you're talking to somebody that literally has no idea, because there'll be people watching this that have heard them words, but they don't actually know what they mean.
Okay, the stupidest way I could explain Marxism is an authority figure delegates fairness. If he notices someone is too poor, he gets them more money. Almost like a bureaucratic god.
And where does he get that money from?
The rich.
Okay.
The taxpayer. So you give this deity all your money, and then he gives it out, each man according to his needs, right? He's taxed by his abilities, and he's rewarded according to his needs. It sounds nice in a beautiful little utopia of 10 people with infinite money, but in a sprawling, never-ending country like America with 331 million people, with an obesity problem that is so bad, for the first time ever in recorded history, we're living less long than our parents. Since cavemen, we've been living longer than our parents, and now we're going down. We also have at least 40 million illegals. Before Biden, we had 30 million. He's brought in about 10 more, and not the good kind. Not the hardworking little Mexican family that wants to better themselves. Fucking criminals. Violent 18 to 25 men of fighting age are flooding our country. So this idea of like Northern European communism and massive socialism with big taxes ain't going to pan out.
So the hard-working man is the man that gets punished.
Oh, yeah. Hard.
As opposed to being rewarded for your hard work.
Right.
You get rewarded for what the government think you deserve, what your needs are.
It's getting worse. And
you can see how people would think in an ideal world that would work.
Oh, Marxism looks great on paper.
But practically...
I love it on paper. Then you start trying it. I mean, the thing that people need to understand about politics, especially American politics, is they're all morons. You know, Kamala Harris, listen to her talk. She says things like, what did she say the other day? She said something like, don't allow us to be burdened by the burdens that we have, or something like that. She writes like fortune cookies and just recites them that they make absolutely no sense. It's not because she's profound. She's lost.
I'd say what the real giveaway was, that whoever's in the White House isn't actually giving the orders. How anybody could have Joe Biden as a representation of their country's leader was just insane.
I hate how people say, oh, he got really bad recently. He sucked under Obama. We printed T-shirts, Censored.tv. We printed T-shirts of his quotes where he was like, you know, all men are created equal in the, you know, the thing. That was 4 years ago.
The thing.
The thing. I forget it. What the fuck is Bill of Rights or
this
something?
This is meant to be the leader of the free world giving a speech.
Memorize our top 3 sayings, dude.
Yeah.
Bill of Rights, Constitution, commit it to memory.
Yeah, that's funny. The thing.
We've got like 4 different T-shirts that have these insane quotes.
I mean, aside from how inept he was hilarious to watch.
Oh, yeah. I loved it. It was great content for the show.
I was going to say great for comedy content.
Yeah, Trump's not good for my pocketbook.
When was you interviewing people like Kanye West? Was that before
that
or
was
after?
That was a freak piece of luck. So I'd already been severely canceled, but when he was super duper canceled with his Hitler shit.
That was pretty insane.
And then all of a sudden Kanye's next to me. I'm like, hey, buddy, welcome to the bottom. I didn't expect to see you down here. Anyway, you want to do an interview?
So what's Kanye West like?
He's a very talented guy. I think he's a great artist. He's very into Kanye West. or Ye, as we're meant to call him. And I don't think he's cut out for politics. I think he should stick to art. I think that's his forte. But I don't why he's become this voice. I do think he's a moral person. I think he's found God recently, and he's been fucked over. And you're allowed to say stupid and offensive things, but he's been. If the Jews wanted to make themselves look good, they should have just let him say his dumb shit. But he goes, Jews control everything. They control the banking industry. They control the media. Next thing you know, his accounts are frozen, and the media are talking about how dangerous he is.
Do you think he believed the shit he was talking?
Yes, but in a very fleeting, artistic, silly way. Like David Bowie said that he wants to start the Fourth Reich, and he's been dressing like a Nazi recently. This is back in the 70s. Sid Vicious had his swastika T-shirt. It was just him being avant-garde. It was just like, I'm going to be as weird and outlandish as I want to be because that's my art. So I think everyone just took it way too seriously.
And do you think someone that famous and that big is kind of so detached from the little man?
Absolutely,
he didn't realise the ramifications of what he was saying.
You got to think of him as Salvador Dali. Like, he's a fucking weirdo. When we got there, things were kind of awkward, and then I started talking about sex jokes, and I can't remember what I was talking about. I was saying I'm so horny I don't beat off anymore. So now, like, the ugliest woman in the world, I'll be winking at on the train and hoping for some sort of, like, look back. And then he laughed, and he's like, I'm so horny now, I'm just going to get married because I'm Christian, and I got to get laid. So I'm getting married soon just to fucking put out this fire. And I go, that was the original design, by the way, when we invented this whole shit. So we got along after the sex jokes. But, like, he hired the paparazzi in L.A., they have different tiers. So there's TMZ, which were like the royalty of paparazzi, and they get Justin Bieber and stuff. But there's scumbag criminals who will, like, hit Justin Theroux off his motorcycle to get a picture of Justin Theroux in a motorcycle accident. They get $100, and they'll, like, break into your house or do anything. They're in gangs, these paparazzi. So one of them, Kanye took a shining to, and now he's in the office. He's his personal cameraman. He sucks. He doesn't even know how the equipment works. He's a thug, and he's hanging around. Get this fucking guy out of here.
And since January the 6th, what's life been like for you right up to this very day?
It's, since October 2nd, 2018, it's been pretty consistent. Like, I can't go anywhere for too long without getting recognized, and they never have the story right. I went to see the fucking Cro-Mags in Berlin recently, and within, half an hour of being in a dark club where I'm standing alone at the back, the owner comes over and asks what I'm doing here. They go, who are you? And I go, why is it any of your business? And then as I'm talking, this girl reads Proud Boys on my elbows, and she goes, he has Proud Boys on his elbows. And then she walks away. Snitch.
So is it a case of you can go somewhere and you're either going to be loved or hated, nothing in the middle?
Correct. Yeah. Like Tommy, I guess. But at that club, they said, look, are you going to be causing any trouble? You're not going to hurt anyone here, are you? What? Like, what do you think I am, Superman? Grayskull? I'm here to beat up a club? What the fuck are you talking about?
Plus, you've never set out to hurt anybody in the first place.
Yeah. I was lying at the beginning. I never went to Borstal. My dad didn't know the craze.
That's a lovely way to round this interview off.
Yeah.
What lies ahead for you, Gav?
We're just pushing Censored.tv really hard. We do comedy shows now. I call it the End Racism Tour, so people feel bad when they cancel it. But, I think what America has come to terms with is we're not trying to bridge the gap anymore. I'm not trying to vindicate myself and tell you that I'm not who you think I am. I don't care what you think. You're not curious. You're not a person that I want on my side, so go fuck yourself. And people always say, what's happening after the election? Is there going to be riots? No, America's divorced. So they have counties. They have certain pockets. Florida, Texas, that's where the red people go. The blue people are in New York City. They're in Chicago. And nary the two shall meet. Average American has totally given up on Philadelphia, Baltimore, Chicago, New York City, Los Angeles. He has no interest in going there. and he doesn't want his kids going to college there. There's going to be no riots whether Trump or Kamala wins. We've already moved on from each other. We don't want to know what our ex-wife is up to.
Well, I'll be watching very closely to see what happens, because normally what happens where you live shortly affects where I live.
Yeah. Well, to end on an up note, we're done apologizing. So what we used to do is say, like, I'm going to see Tommy Robinson, and you got to understand the ADL wasn't racist when he started it. We're done with that apologizing. Now we're going to protect kids. We're not going to let you have Drag Queen Story Hour. We don't care how you perceive us. Like, the Proud Boys never talk to the press anymore. They have zero faith in the media, and they're not trying to clean up their image. They know who they are. And I think we're seeing that with the West in general. I think comedians are telling the jokes, and they're not listening to you when you demand apologies. And people like Tommy are just fighting the good fight without this constant fear of being liked. And that's very freeing to never apologize and just say, I'm doing this.
Yeah, I'll second that. If you've got nothing to say sorry for, then don't. And a good example is you've got people full of self-guilt for one reason or another for stuff that happened centuries ago. Nothing to do with them at all. As you know, my dad is in jail for child sex crimes. I won't apologise for him. He's got nothing to do with me. He's fuck all to do with me. I won't apologise. I'll just make sure that I'm a much better person, and I'll put as much love into the universe and the country as possible. And that's my job. It's not to apologise for previous behaviour from other people that's got fuck all to do with me. It's to be a bigger, better man than whoever come before me.
Right. And the West's history is not child sex abuse. The West's history is creating the modern world. So if you want to get into my past, I'm going to say you're welcome for that. I say that to people when I'll see these people, liberals will come up to me and they'll be like, I hate you. And I'll go, you got to understand, if you want a fist fight, I'm happy to fight. If you want to have a debate, I'm happy to debate. But outside of those two things, why would I give a fuck what a stranger thinks of me? You think I'm going to sit here and worry that someone I've never met doesn't like me? Go fuck yourself, loser.
And before we wrap it up, anything else you want to say?
So Censored.tv is my network. I do a show there every day. It's funny. It's a wee bit of sanity in a world gone mad. And the analogy I always use is like, you know, these post-apocalyptic movies where they have the radio and they're like, is anyone there? Beep, beep, beep. Hello, is anyone there? SOS. And then after like weeks you hear like, yes, Bubba's here. Where are you guys? And it's like, shut up, come here. That's what Censored.tv is. It's $10 a month to realize that you're not alone in this world, and there are sane people out there fighting the good fight.
And are you back on Twitter?
No.
Okay, so that is the only place people can find you.
Censored.tv, yep. I'm permanently banned from everything.
Well, me for one, I'm going to sign up to that. I want to say thank you for coming all the way from New York to spend this time with me. I've loved it. As always, you've been a joy. Here's to a brighter future and good health.
Thanks, Liam. Great being here. Love your show.
And you, brother.
Cheers.